that's the whole thing about entrepreneurship. If you want to start, you have to take the risk somewhere. And like I've had friends that started their whole business on a 5,000 credit card limit, and now they're making a lot of money. They've been able to pay all that back. So you just got to find ways and find resources. And like I said, there's a lot of information online where you can literally like go on Google and say, how do I find a loan? And there's also a lot of companies nowadays and a lot of people who are sponsoring, young entrepreneurs and who are giving them grants. Like grant monies are crazy. Like I found, like I've applied for some grant monies. I haven't gotten any yet, but it's like, you never know, like just apply for them, because especially for a woman, there's a lot of grant that for like small business woman owners that they give out, and they give out like $5,000 to $20,000. So it's like, just do the application. It takes like 30, maybe an hour. And then you never know, you might get selected.
What is going on, everyone? I'm your host, Kevin Munoz. You're listening to the Leo podcast, where we talk about various educational topics, especially those impacting the Latin American community. This is today's free episode. If you want early access to episodes and bonus episodes, you can find that right now on our patreon.com/LatinaMericaneo. And if not, then enjoy this one. In today's episode, I had the pleasure to speak with Danna, the founder of Calidanna, a boutique created for the joyful, independent, and romantic woman that expresses her passion through clothes and style. Calidanna's mission as a brand is to empower women to take on the world and help them make their mark and impact on others with confidence and grandeur. They design clothes the Colombian way and wear them with confidence and style. Their clothing is 100% manufactured in Colombia, with designs created by Colombian designer and entrepreneur Nathalia Nieto, with production centers in Barranquilla, Bogota, and Cali. In our discussion, Danna shares with us her immigration story from Colombia to the United States, what inspired her to start Calidanna, what it means to be an entrepreneur, and much more coming up right now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danna or Dana. I go by both. I am from Cali, Colombia. I was born there, and I lived until I was 5. My parents and we immigrated to the U.S. right when I was turning 5, and we came straight to Houston, Texas. We had some family members. My dad had a sister living here, and at that age, I thought I was going to go to Disney World, and that was the plan. And turns out the U.S. was kind of like my Disney World, and we ended up staying here. And I've been living in Houston, Texas for already how many years? Oh my gosh, like 23, 22 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, once I came to Houston, we pretty much have been, rooted our roots here. We have our house here. I live with my parents, my sister, and yeah, that's how I am here in the U.S. right now.
So you had family that you knew already in Houston? Is that how you guys landed there?
Yeah, we had my dad's sister. She moved to the U.S. like probably I think like 5 or 10 years before my dad did, and she got married here, and she kept telling my dad like there's a lot of opportunities here, and at the time, Colombia was going through a lot of changes in politics, and it wasn't really safe. And we had actually like one of the things that like scared my dad really a lot was he got kidnapped and robbed, and that was in like we were in a motorcycle, and like cars pulled up. Like I was there. I don't vividly remember this because I think I was like 3 or maybe 4. But yeah, that kind of like shook like my family up, and my dad was kind of feeling unsafe, being in Colombia, with everything that was going on at the time. And so my aunt was like, well, why don't you just come over here, like get your visas, go, like take a 3-month vacation over here in the US. You can stay with us. And then you kind of check it out. Cause my dad and my mom were like, I don't know, like, it'd be nice to go visit, but live there. Yeah, I don't think so. And then when we came over here, my parents loved it. And yeah,
So the
We
initial thought was like, we're just gonna go visit, like your family member recommended, and then you just
Yeah, it
loved
was
it.
it was just we were gonna go visit. Like we didn't like no one packed to like pack like if we were gonna be moving here.
Oh
So
wow.
it was just like let's just go visit, let's take some time off
Yeah.
and my dad was gonna like work a little bit over here just so he can like get some money and bring it back to Colombia. And then we ended up staying here in the US.
Okay. Awesome. And we're gonna get into the how you started Calidanna, which is like your fashion company, business and shop. Um, but do you have any like entrepreneurship, like family members that inspired you? Or was this something you kind of just started as, something that you've been always passionate about?
Yeah, I've always been passionate. I would say number one, I've always been passionate about it. I've always been
Yeah.
intrigued about like entrepreneurship and how it works. And then my dad has his construction company that he's been working with himself for like the last like 25 years, 30, almost 30 years. And I've had some family members that have like their own businesses in Colombia. And
Hmm.
so I guess it's, but most importantly, I think it's been also myself. Like I didn't do it just because my parents were doing it. I did it because I was very intrigued by it.
Hmm.
I worked in the corporate field and I've seen the difference what it is to work a 9 to 5 job and what it is to be an entrepreneur. And I a
Yeah.
million times prefer to be an entrepreneur than work a 9 to 5 job, which is no just, no hate towards anyone working a 9 to 5 job. Everyone has its own lifestyles. But my
Yeah.
lifestyle fit a lot better with, being an entrepreneur and doing what I love to do.
All of that. And then, I mean, tell us, since we're already into it, a bit about your business. And you already told us how you got into it. So just tell us what you do.
Yes. So I own a clothing company called Calidanna. The name is very interesting and like it literally took me 10 minutes to come up with this name.
I was going to
Uh,
ask you about it. Yeah.
So the name Cali represents my hometown, Colombia, and Cali, Colombia, and then my name, Dana. And when you put them together, it actually spells out quality in Spanish, calidad, which is one thing that I wanted the clothes to be known for. So when I was thinking about like the process of the name, I wanted three things. I wanted to represent Colombia, I wanted to represent me, and I wanted to represent quality. And it's just so happened to be that we were able to find the perfect fit for that. So yeah, I own a clothing company, Calidanna. I started off as a boutique, an online e-commerce boutique. Um, and I manufacture and get all my clothes from Colombia. I work with local designers in Colombia, and then I've also designed some of my own pieces, and everything gets made in Colombia. We have a production center in Barranquilla and Cali as well, where it's 100% run by women. So the Colombian women who are head of the household are the ones who are making the clothes, and then everything gets shipped here to Houston, where I run the e-commerce business. And yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last over 2 years now. But I'm looking to expand in different ways with Calidanna into making it more of a brand. Because a boutique lifestyle is awesome, it's great, but it's not like it's a lot of work, and I have also another full-time job, and so I want to be able to scale it big. I want to be able to, you know, pass this on.
Fully commit.
Yeah, and I also have other plans that I want to do. I want to do other things, and so a boutique is it's a lot because you have to be like present. I have to be doing pop-up markets. I have to literally put all of my clothes in my car, take it to a pop-up, unload, and then reload back, and then put it back in my garage. So it's a lot, but I've proved my market. I've tested it out by seeing that there is a demand in clothes that are from Colombia, and people really have enjoyed it. So I'm expanding. I'm currently right now. I'm in the phase where I'm trying to rebrand Caridana into something more than a boutique.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, we'll definitely get into that later on. But as of now, did you go to school for fashion, or was this just something you always did like on the side? And then you found that you kind of had like like the talent for it and just kept doing it?
I did not go to school of fashion. In high school I took like two fashion classes and I loved it. But I just didn't really like I enjoyed it a lot, but I just really at that time I wasn't when I was looking at college like at colleges, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then I also saw the price of how much it costs to go to a fashion school, and it's
Yeah.
very, very expensive. Um, and at the time I had DACA. And so I was kind of like, I don't know if I can afford that right now. I was paying for my own college. And so I was like, I don't know if that's going to be like the end goal.
Yeah.
I ended up going to like a community college, did my associates, and then I transferred to University of Houston.
That's the
Where,
move.
Mhm.
That's really the move. Like that's what
Yeah, you really
I
do
did as
save a
well.
lot of money. For
Yeah.
a class that you'd be paying like almost like $1,500, you pay it out of community
Yeah.
college for like $300. So you save a lot of
Yeah.
money. So then I transferred to University of Houston, and I was originally going to plan to major in accounting. I worked at an accounting firm, and I realized that I was not really in love with the job. It pays very well, but it just wasn't for me. And that's where entrepreneurship came in, where I found out about a program here at the University of Houston. It's an entrepreneurship program where you learn, you more than learn how to start a business. You actually do start a business while you're in the program, and you
Wait,
start
that's
all these
awesome.
cool
Not to cut
things.
you off, but like,
Yeah.
how did you hear about that program? Just is it still around? Is it a program that people can still like look for and maybe if they're interested enroll in as well?
I am the program manager for the Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship, the program where I graduated. Um, so yeah, it is a program here in the University of Houston. We're ranked number one in the nation for undergrad in entrepreneurship. It's a 3 semester long program where it's very selective. Only around 30 to 40 students get selected to be in the program to major in entrepreneurship. Um, and yeah, I found it out. I was doing research at the University of Houston. I had searched it up, and then I was like, oh, this seems interesting. And then I ran into a friend that I knew that was actually applying for the program. And we ended up, getting involved with the program, volunteering. And I ended up we do this crazy thing called Wolf Fest. I volunteered with them where the students literally build their own like restaurants business and bring it to the University of Houston for a pop-up festival. And it was crazy, but this was like something that I was like, okay, I'm 100% ready to commit to doing this. And that's actually where like Calidanna and started. Like it started the end of the second semester when I was in the program, that I came up with the whole concept of Calidanna.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome that you started it from there. Often the biggest like ideas comes from when you're kind of in that environment
Yeah.
and you can all just like bounce ideas off of each other. So I feel like that's a great resource for people to go to. So I'll definitely, if that's okay with you, get like maybe a link to the website or maybe more info, and I'll just put that like in the show notes and share it with people.
Yeah, 100%.
One thing I didn't know about you was that you said you mentioned that you were DACA before.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so you're not currently under DACA anymore, though, right?
No, I'm a
Yeah.
full, I'm happy to say I'm a USA
Woo!
resident on my citizenship in 2 years from now.
Well, congratulations. I always
Thank
love to hear
you.
it.
Like it was God's work when that the whole reason that I became a resident, because
Yeah.
I tell people the whole story about how it happened and people are like, no way. So yeah.
Well now you got to tell us.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm happy to share that story with you guys. I was that guy because like I said, when I came here, I came with my parents, and we came with a visa. We overstayed our visas. And then the whole plan was my aunt was a citizen. She was going to petition for us. And at that time, like in the early like in before 9/11, it was
Okay.
really easy to, get residency in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And people used to go walk into the Social Security office and come out with a green card.
Sounds
It,
nice. That's like
it
a
used to be
paradise.
very easy. And my aunt had this plan to petition for us and to have us stay here and all this stuff. And long story short, she didn't submit the papers after 9/11 happened. And then after 9/11 happened, a lot of immigration
Mm-hmm.
like stopped change in the way that how people can become residents and who can come to
Right.
the US. Immigration got really like crazy with, like all these laws, all these rules,
Mm-hmm.
everything. It changed a lot of it. So it also changed our petition, the way that we were being petitioned by through my dad's sister. And basically, they're like, it's a 5 to 10 year process for us
Yeah.
to even get approved. So we waited that whole entire 5 to 10 years, became 15 years, and became almost 20 years. And when we got a lawyer, we heard back from the lawyer, and we were meeting up with them, and they're like, okay, we're starting to kind of like, they're starting to get to your file now, finally.
Wow.
But at that time, I believe I was 23. Yeah, I was
Mm.
23 and they said that my dad and my mom qualified to move on to the next step. But the lawyer looked at me and said, you unfortunately don't qualify because you
Wow.
have aged out. After you turn 21, you age out of a petition. So
That's ridiculous. Like you gotta wait like 5 to 10 years, and then you get aged out. Like that's done on purpose for sure. That's
yeah, so that was very like, it was, I did not understand any of that. I was like, that's stupid. Like, why would, I mean, I've been waiting all these years. Like, it's not my fault that it's been taking so long. And basically they were like, yeah, it's you're aged out. Your only options is if you get married with someone that's a
right.
citizen, or if, at the time they do something with DACA residents to make them like USA residents. And so I was like, I have to depend on two idiots. Great. So um we like I was kind of my parents were really upset that this was happening.
Yeah.
And I think the lawyers also like they had been working on our case for a really long time, and they saw the frustration that there was. And during that time I was applying to the program, and
Mm.
I don't know to this day, like I still don't know. Someone watched my video on my application, which was like the first time that I kind of like said that I was not, that I was a dreamer, and that I was
Yeah.
like, I said it like in a very cheesy way, like, hey, I'm a dreamer, which people got the reference and some people didn't get the reference.
Yeah.
I was like the first time I publicly like came out, because not many people really knew that about me, not even some of my closest friends.
Right.
And someone in like the law firm saw it, and they're like, we want to try to help you out. We're going to try to find a loophole.
Wow.
And long story, it's a really long story, but long story short, they were able to find a loophole that says that I came here with the visa. And so I legally was allowed to come here to the United States. And when I came here, I was petitioned under my aunt, and I
Gotcha.
didn't come here. I was under the age of 18. So I did not have a choice to say, yes, I want to come to the United States. No, I don't want to come to the United States. I was little. So that petition covered me. And I got DACA in December of 2012, right before I turned 18. So when I
Wow.
got DACA, I was underage. I was 17 years old, and I turned eight, and I qualified. I turned 18 in January. In January of 2013. So I
Mm.
qualified by like 20 something days, like 20,
Oh
I
my
think it was like
gosh.
26 days.
Yeah.
Um, and so technically when I got DACA, I was underage. And so they were able to fight that, saying that I have never been here illegally, that I've
Mm-hmm.
always been here
Legally.
with
Yeah.
like something that to back me up. And immigration somehow approved it. And the process, it went from like, I got a notification in November that it was approved. And then in the beginning of January of 2019, they got immigration sent us a letter saying that we had to go to Colombia in April,
Oh, okay.
to go to the U.S. embassy and to go for our residency. And we went to Colombia in April. And it was a month process that we were in Colombia for a whole month. Me and my dad trying
Wow.
to get that. And then when we came back to Houston, I think it was like April 29th, we became USA residents. So it all happened in 6 months. And it was really crazy. Like, I still can't even believe it. So yeah.
That is an insane story, but I mean, I'm glad it worked out because it seems like you just the stars kind of aligned because you kind of just were, luckily like you came here legally and that you hit the before the deadline. So I mean, I'm glad that worked out for you. But that was when you went back for. You said you went back for like a whole month. Was that for? That was the first time that you've gone back since you came back, right? Since you
Yeah, that
got
was the
into the
first
U.S.
time since I came to the US, which was I was 5 when I came to the US.
Yeah.
And I went back, I was 24, 25. I can't remember. Yeah, I was 24.
Wow. So how was that experience?
I mean, it was like I don't vividly remember Colombia at all when I was a
Yeah.
little kid. So I
Yeah.
was like to me, it was like going to a new place for the first time.
Yeah.
And I also saw a lot of I saw I would say like 99% of my family members that I haven't seen and since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So it was a little like it was kind of like you do get a little bit culture shock because you've been living here in the US for such a long time and the only
Yeah.
thing you've
Definitely.
seen has been here in the US. You haven't been outside of the US. But I mean, I loved it. I loved being around my family. I loved, getting to visit my country and go to all these cool places. And it was a lot of fun. A month was a little bit too long because I started like, okay, like, I'm so used to like,
Yeah.
being here and like being on my own schedule and like driving myself over there in Colombia. There's no way in hell I would drive myself. They drive crazy over there. They drive crazy, but they drive really good. It's wild, but
That's how I describe my driving, by the way.
I was no.
Crazy
I
but
was
good.
terrified. I was terrified to go on the streets and drive there. And then all the cars over there are oh my gosh, what's it called? They're not automatic.
Yeah, standard. Like, yeah, standard.
Standard.
Yeah,
So
stick
I don't
shift.
know how to drive. I don't know how to drive a stick. And so yeah, it was fun and I really enjoyed it and it was something different. Like I experienced a whole another different world.
Do you think that had some sort of impact or inspiration um, in starting your business, Calidanna?
Yes, that was one of the reasons why I started it. Because when I
Mm,
went back, I fell in love with the textile industry and like the fashion industry in Colombia. And I saw there was a huge opportunity. I was like, oh my God, like these clothes are so like awesome. Like I love the material of it. The fit is amazing. You get them at a really good price.
mm-hmm.
And I literally brought back like another suitcase full of clothes.
Oh,
And when I came back here and I was wearing all the clothes, everyone kept complimenting, like, oh my gosh, like, where did you get this? That's so cute. I wish I could find some clothes like that. And so I started seeing like that there was a demand and like people were actually liking the clothes. And there's always like a stereotype when you say, oh, I sell clothes from Colombia. People think either I sell like fajas or waist trainers or the jeans that like make your booty look big. And I'm like, yeah, we actually, Colombia is like number two in Europe with fashion when it comes to fashion. And they're very
wow.
well developed in the fashion industry over there. Like Medellin is probably like our capital of fashion. Where there's hundreds of manufacturing companies over there where they distribute some of the best like material for jean, for bathing suits, for literally
Wow.
anything. And so I not many people know that about Colombia.
Often one of the biggest like obstacles to starting a new venture is funding, right? What's something that um, you did to help you with that, or was that something that you had to struggle with, like finding funding for buying the textiles, right, or paying people to help you build this up?
It's definitely something, it can be very intimidating when you're going to think, okay, like I have a business plan, I know what I want to do, but
Yeah,
how do I do it if I don't have any money?
right.
Or where do I even start? I've always had the savings account where I was like, I didn't know exactly what it was for, but I knew
Mm,
I was going to use it for something very special and very important. And thankfully I didn't have to get a loan for anything.
yeah.
I used all of my, not all of my savings, but I used a majority of my savings to invest in starting Calidanna, because I always knew that I wanted to do something on my own, but I never knew what it was. And then when I got the chance to know what it was, I was like, okay, I have the perfect, I have a good money amount
Yeah.
saved up, so I can use that to start somewhere. And then, if you have like a savings account, like do a lot of research and try to find cost efficient ways that you can save money. Like I did before I like spent any of my own money. I literally like looked up videos on like YouTube. I spent hours on YouTube just looking at people who have started their boutiques, and you'll be surprised how much information like the internet has and how much free resources they are on
Mm-hmm.
online, where you can kind of get an estimate of like how much you're going to be spending for, like how much, like what you should buy and what you shouldn't buy. So that helped me a lot, and to not spend my money on like stupid, crazy things, just spend my money on the things that I
What you
actually
needed
really
to.
did needed. Um, but and then if you don't have like if you don't have like a saving account like I did, don't be afraid to go get a loan, go to your bank. I know Chase is really good, well known for business loans. And even like, so I know this sounds kind of crazy, but like your credit card,
Yeah.
um, you know, credit cards are there to be used. So, use it. I've seen people who have started their businesses by maxing out their credit card. Obviously, like it comes like, there's some
Risks.
downsides about doing that, but
Yeah.
that's the whole thing about entrepreneurship. If you want to start, you have to take the risk somewhere. And like I've had friends that started their whole business on a 5,000 credit card limit, and now they're making a lot of money. They've been able to pay all that back. So
Wow.
you just got to find ways and find resources. And like I said, there's a lot of information online where you can literally like go on Google and say, how do I find a loan? And there's also a lot of companies nowadays and a lot of people who are sponsoring, young entrepreneurs and who are giving them grants. Like grant monies are
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like I found like I've applied for some grant monies. I haven't gotten any yet, but it's like you never know. Like just apply for them, because especially for a woman, there's a lot of grant that for like small business woman owners that
Yeah.
they give out, and they give out like $5,000 to $20,000. So it's like just do the
That can be really
application. It takes
helpful.
like 30, maybe an hour, and then you never know, you might get selected.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. You're listening to the Leo Podcast. I'm Kevin Munoz. Support for today's episode comes from my Patreons. If you enjoy the show and are looking for bonus content and to further support the show, then head on over to patreon.com/latinamericaneo or visit my website latinamericaneo.org to join the growing Leo Podcast community. Because the learning doesn't stop with this episode. There's also some sick merch on my website, everything from shirts, coffee mugs, and tote bags. All info will be at the bottom in the show notes. Now let's get back to today's episode. What does it mean for you to be like a Latina in this space, right? Are there any obstacles that come with that you faced, or do you kind of find it as your that's kind of like your strength in the space, right? Since you're all women led.
Yeah, I don't like to look at it as I mean, there can be a lot of weaknesses when it comes to
Yeah.
like, being a female and owning your own business, but in reality, there's more positive and more good things than weaknesses. If you're making them into weaknesses, that's kind of a personal issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's just my opinion. But if you like, for example, like, any like you're if one of the things that I wanted to do was to be able to own a business where it's led by women. And one thing that when I was doing my research was like, there's so much right now going on with, the word fast fashion, and,
Yeah.
companies like Shein and Fashion Nova, Zara, that, they were going through a lot of stuff saying like, who's actually making my clothes? And people are actually wondering like, who's making them. So I was like, wouldn't it be cool to like have like a woman owned company where that women are the ones who are making clothes and women that are the head of the household. So people love and support those ideas. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
like I said, you also have to find like a niche where like or just like find something where you sell your story and people fall in love with your story and they fall in love with your product.
Yes. Yes. Use your story. Yeah. No,
Use your
absolutely.
story, and So to me, like I've never had any um any like I've never thought about like negative like being a Latina. And I understand that it can be hard, but you know, that's a personal choice, and you can either make it hard or you can find ways to make it even better. And I think with us, we have a lot of resources, and a lot of people don't know that. And it's, focus on those resources. Like there's a lot of companies and a lot of people who support Latina women, and people who are also undocumented too, who are in DACA. They like to give those grants out. They have that money. So using that as a positive thing and using that kind of as like your weapon.
So I imagine that you mentioned manufacturing and people not knowing kind of like where their clothes are coming from because of fast fashion and such. So I want to get into like the manufacturing, and you do 100% of manufacturing in Colombia, right? Now, what are the challenges that come with that? Like, what are the pros and cons of manufacturing your clothes in Colombia versus like the U.S.?
One of the cons is that I'm not there. I don't live there.
Right.
So it is sometimes hard to kind of like, I have to rely on the people that I work with to understand, like not to understand, to like really trust their opinion on like a type of like, like a fabric that I haven't
Okay.
seen personally or haven't felt. So I think that to me is like one of the biggest cons, but there's actually a lot more pros. The fact that, I could make this made in the US, but one of the reasons why I started Calidanna was to like help my country, and, create more jobs over there
Yeah.
while I'm here in the US, still, creating revenues and creating businesses. So like a pros is, and what I said when one of my cons was like, I don't live there. And so it's kind of hard but you have to surround yourself and you have to know who you're working with. So I've
Yeah.
thankfully been very blessed to have picked the right person to work with, and where I 100% trust their decision. And like, we have a really great business relationship where I completely trust her and she completely trusts me. And I can literally be living here in the US and not have to worry so much about what's going down in Colombia. So that's one thing that I would always stress about, is like, make sure that if you're starting a business, and if you're going to be doing it somewhere, that you need to have like a partner or someone to help you run it, that you 100% have a good relationship with this person, and that you completely trust them with your life, because that's like, it's kind of like it's a marriage,
Yeah, it really is.
you're in this together, and you can't be 50-50, it has to be 100-100. So I always recommend everyone to, if you're like really investigate and know who you're working with, because everyone can tell you yes. Everyone can tell you, yes, I want to work with you, but who really wants to work with you, and who really wants to like get to know who you are? Where do their values stand? Are they the same values as your values? Do you guys have the same goals? Do they have any dreams? All that stuff is very important when it comes to choosing and like the people that you want to work with. So I think that helps kind of like relieve like the con situation. But the pros, it's like, the pros is that over there, the quality is a lot better, and it's 100% sourced by Colombia. Like that's one of the reasons I didn't want to have like, fabric from China or from anywhere.
Yeah.
And then also it's better on me for cost issues.
Yeah, certainly.
So the dollar and the peso situation, I get a lot more worth of my dollar than I would if I would have done it here in the US. And then I think also just the uniqueness of it too, like that's a pro. Like, you are not going to find things that you can find here in the US easily. And you can find them in Colombia.
I mean, basically, what you're saying is like, the way I'm seeing is like, you've used the cons and turned that into basically a pro, because you're just like, well, I'm not physically there. I do have someone that I trust a lot, and I can do other things here in the U.S. Maybe that opportunities for the company that might not be over there, right? So it's kind of like, just turn your cons into pros in
Yeah.
that situation. Now, I was gonna ask you about your designer, Nathalia Nieto, right?
Mhm.
Um, I was gonna ask how you met Natalia and um, how you guys connected, and did you know each other beforehand? And because that's someone that you have to trust, right? And how was that process? Did you know her beforehand?
No, I had absolutely no idea who she was.
Right.
So when I started this process in 2019, in December 2019 is when I got the idea of Calidanna and I got the name. I was going to go to Colombia. I went to Colombia late December and early January to go celebrate with my family and just see them. And then I was also going to take a look at like manufacturers and
Okay.
companies. But when I was over there, I literally ran out of time and I didn't have time to go do that. So I was like, you know what, I'll be back in the summer. I'll take a month long break. After I graduate, I'll go back to Colombia and meet with people. And COVID happened,
Okay.
2020. So I obviously was not allowed to travel back to Colombia. And I was like, well, crap, I don't have like I had gotten a full-time job offer because I also double majored in human resources.
Okay.
And when the COVID hit, the job offer got retracted away from me because of like the situation and the economy and
Oh man.
everything. So I was, recently graduating out of college and I did not have a job. And my business that I was thinking about doing was not going to go anywhere because I couldn't actually travel back to Colombia, which was because I don't live there. I live here in the US. And I
So
was like,
everything was just falling apart
yeah.
in your
So
eyes.
I was like, well, it's a good thing we live in the 21st century era where we can literally contact anyone on through our phones. So I was like, this is a long shot, but I'm just going to start like looking and doing my research and looking at people. And I started looking at like, okay, who are the bloggers in Colombia
Oh.
that are wearing like that? Because every blogger, when they wear something, they always tag like who they're wearing. And so I started looking at like them and like, okay, they're wearing this person, they're wearing this person. And I was like, I'm just gonna start shooting like DMs and
That's so
messaging
smart. Looking
people
towards the
and
bloggers.
and
Wow.
doing that and seeing and asking like the designers if they would like to collaborate. I roughly messaged around maybe like 300 people to 300 to 450, almost 500 people. And I knew that for me introducing myself, I was like, hi, I'm Danna. I'm from the US and I would want to work with you guys. This is my idea. I knew that every single person was going to say yes. And literally every single person said yes.
Wow. Look at that
Because
confidence. Where do you get this
well,
confidence?
that's also because it's like you think about it, it's like you're in the US, anyone in Colombia, anyone like in the South America region, or anyone would want to work with someone in the US
Yeah,
because
yeah.
especially
Yeah, in
when a
the
business
US.
opportunity like this,
Yeah.
it's opportunity for them also. So but now the hard part was that was the easy part, getting everyone to say yes. The hard part was finding out who to actually commit to and who to actually say yes.
Right, right.
Who do I actually want to work with?
You got to put on
And
your detective hat now.
yeah, so that was a lot of research. And I had messaged Natalia and their brand, and they never responded. And like I was about this close to sign with someone else, like to go with someone else. And there was something in me that would just kept like, oh, I'm still like, I like them, but I don't love them like that. And then they accidentally, like Natalia's team messaged me and they're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We opened the message and we forgot to respond and we just left it unread. But let me get you in contact with her. And so then after that, I got in contact with her and I could just tell right off, like we hit it off. They're very attentive. They, like whenever you're in this kind of process, don't ask a lot of questions, but also stay silent because it's a relationship. So you want to see like what the other people want to do for you. Like,
Right.
it's like, how are you going to help me and how am I going to help you? Now, how are you going to help me? And that's it. It has to be a mutual thing. And so I started seeing that from then that they wanted to help me and I wanted to help them. And so from there on, I was like, okay, I like you guys. Let's go ahead and do it. And I started working with them, and I absolutely love them. I loved working with them. I can trust them. They're very creative. She does amazing on what she does. Like I said, I was like, I'm not a fashion designer. I didn't go to fashion school. I went to business school.
Yeah.
I know what looks good. I know what I like, but I need more help in that expertise because I don't consider myself a fashion designer. I do know more about like marketing, about how to scale something, about
Yeah.
business. Like we can talk more about that. And so I'm like, that's where I need the help. And so we kind of like helped each other out with business and fashion and all that stuff. And that's how the relationship developed. And I never like it was just through Zoom. I had never personally met her
Wow.
until last year. And I went to Barranquilla to go meet her in person after working with her over a year.
Wow. Then you guys just instantly clicked.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I love
because you
it.
guys were always working with each other anyways, right? It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
over
It was like
Zoom.
we've known each other. I mean, it was more like just getting to know each other physically, like in person.
Do you guys have a physical location, or is that something that you're looking to do in the future? Or maybe you don't even want to have a physical location. You just want it to be all online. But I know you did mention that you do like pop-ups, right?
Yeah, I do pop-ups here in the Houston area. I've done some in Dallas and but like I said in the beginning, pop-ups are a lot of work. Like people don't really realize how much pop-ups are because you literally have to move everything and like all your business into like your car
Into your
and then
car.
transport it and then put it back together and then take it back down and then put it back in your car and then put it back in your it's a lot of work. So I have a lot of respect for small business owners who do that, who do like 3 or 4 pop-ups a month. I could barely do one a month and I'm like tired.
Wow. And you have to pay.
So
Do you have to pay for to rent like the space too?
yeah, you do.
You do,
Yeah.
right?
It's usually like around like 50 to $100.
Oh, okay.
And then like if you do like a big conference, it might be like 150 to like $200. Like I always do my research and if I know like my target market is going to be there, then I do pay the extra. But if I know that it's like not going to like it's not the right location for me, then I
Yeah.
don't go. So I try to do one at least one a month, just to
Mm,
get like the name brand out. But the end goal is not to have a physical store.
okay.
It's I think with now with like, and I've noticed that a lot, especially after COVID, many people don't shop anymore in store. We have Amazon, we have, all these people that are delivering like everything to you.
Yeah.
And I think especially in the US, like it used to be like people used to shop online. Now the majority, I would say, I think like last time I read, it was like 85 or more, 85% or 80% of people prefer to shop online than they do in store.
Yeah.
To me, it's just not worth getting a store and like and requiring all that cost and that overhead because it's a lot of money
Yeah.
for rent and all that stuff. So the end goal is not to get a store. And right now I'm like I said in the beginning, like it's in the works. I'm thinking of different ways that I can expand Calidanna to make it bigger. Either if it's an online presence or if it's a wholesale presence. I still don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm still investigating all that.
Gotcha. And do you ship? Do you currently only ship in the U.S. or worldwide? Because I imagine worldwide has its costs
I've
and
shipped here
difficulty too.
mostly in the US. All of my, I would say I've had maybe, I had 2 or 3 orders that went to Canada. And that was it.
That's awesome. That's cool.
The rest of the orders were just here in the US.
Yeah. So you are like equipped for like if someone wants to order um in like South America or Central
Yeah,
America, anywhere. Okay, cool. You know,
100%.
just because I know some people, with the shipping costs, and it can be a headache for that.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
lot more like work when it comes to like, you have to do like a custom label and all this stuff. But
right.
yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten any orders from anywhere outside Canada and the US, but if it does happen, yeah, we can definitely do
All
it.
right. Cool. Awesome. What changes have you made to your business strategy over the past few years? You mentioned that COVID was, impacted obviously your plans for how you're going to take the business, or I guess how fast you would scale it, right? But yeah, what strategies have you had? Where have you had to like pivot in your journey?
Right, like currently right now I'm pivoting because I know I see the potential in it and I know that I
Yeah.
can be a lot more. But I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Like, and
Yeah.
where will it be the best? And it's a process. Like, I don't think I'm going to have it set in stone until the end of this year, of what I'm going to do. But, I don't think it's gonna, I 100% believe that it's not gonna be like in the beginning of next year, I won't be just selling clothes online.
Mm.
It might be like, I might move to wholesale, I might move to a brand doing a platform. At this moment, I really like, I have a lot of ideas and I'm trying to put them all together and trying to just see like what's going to be the best for me. And so like currently right now, like it's like a huge pivoting stage for me. And I can't really,
Yeah.
like, I have a lot and it's like we can literally go on for about like hours about this, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's, I'm trying, like, I know that like it worked out for me. Like I did great. I sold, I know that people love the clothes. So
Mm-hmm.
now, like I said, my goal is not to stay with a boutique. That's not the end goal. So I'm trying to figure out ways to make it bigger and grow it bigger. So right now I'm in the pivoting stage. Funny
There
that
you
you
go.
asked that.
Caught you in the pivoting stage.
Yeah, I'm
But
trying to like, there might be a whole rebrand of what
yeah.
Calidanna is. I'm trying to go also eco-friendly, which
Mm.
we've actually done that. We
Right, you're using textiles from recycled bottles, right? I think
Mhm.
I saw.
Yeah, so we have officially gone like 100% eco-friendly, where all of our
Mm.
materials are sourced from distributors who work with an eco-friendly environment in the fashion industry. So that's another thing that's like playing a huge factor of like what I want to do with Calidanna next. So I'm still selling clothes. I'm only going to be selling like maybe like 4 or 5 pieces per like I usually drop like 3 or 4, maybe 4 collections. So 4 to 5 pieces. I'm keeping it very small because, um, like I said, I might redo the entire Calidanna process. So that's
Yeah.
currently in the works right now.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I love that question because as entrepreneurs, and business owners, like like always pivoting. So,
Yeah.
it's something that you have to learn to deal with. Which brings me to how how do you keep like track of your workflow? Do you have like any tools or systems to keep yourself like on track with your goals?
Yeah. That's a time management is a big thing. Because
Mm,
yes, like entrepreneurship, like yeah, you have all the time in the world, but it's like you really need to know where you're going to put your time in. And I also have like I'm the program manager for the Wolf Center, so that's another job
right.
that like takes a lot of my time. And right now the students just recently graduated, so we're like on our summer vacation break from like now all the way up to like late August. So right now
Mm-hmm.
I'm using the time to dedicate more to Calidanna. And just having like at least like, my work days, like I like Monday through Wednesday, I work heavily on, the program that I'm currently my second full-time job. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I work heavily on Calidanna and just kind of balancing it out. And I
Wow.
don't I love to have a planner, but do I really keep up with the planner 100% of my time? No, I don't. I'll be very honest. I like the idea of a planner. I have it sometimes, but sometimes I just forget about it and I don't like write everything in there. And I just try to keep track of everything like in my head. I know it
I'm the
sounds,
same way. I know.
yeah, it's probably not the best
They're
idea because
always like, "Don't do that. Write it down." And I'm just
don't do
like,
that, write it down. But it
mm.
is, yeah, it's very important for you to write it down. So I've done a lot, like there's a lot of tools online. Like there's like I use Google a lot, like Google Drive, Google Calendar to help like set like like set meetings up so that way I can have them like on my phone and I don't forget about them just in case. And it's just really like if I'm a very organized person regardless in my life, I try to be as much organized as I can.
Yeah, look at that desk.
Um,
It's clean.
yes, I was about, yeah, like if you look at my desk, like it's really like very clean. Like and there's so many because my coworker, like his desk is like all over the place. But I'm
Yeah.
like very OCD because I can't get work done if my desk is not clean. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me. So
I'm the same way if I'm like working from home. If like something disorganized like my bed, I'm like, no,
yeah.
I need to make that first. Like
Yeah.
uh,
So I think I just staying on top of it and I think one thing that's very important too is, finding out, like, also giving yourself a break too.
Mm,
Because I know sometimes you're always like on the go and you're always like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. Like taking care of like your mental health and just craving that time for whatever you want to do. I'm a big supporter of like your me time.
yeah.
Like sometimes you just have to turn your computer off.
Mm,
Sometimes you just have to be like, I would rather take a nap or like just go for a run, go for listen to a podcast, do whatever you like to do to get your energy back.
mm-hmm.
Because it's like, if you think about it, like I would always say, I could stay up like this extra hour and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm tired and like having to do the work, but not actually really doing it. You're doing it because you're like, I have to finish this. Or
Yeah.
I can just, shut my computer off, take care of myself, go to bed, go do a facial or something. I don't know, whatever you like to do. And then you wake up the next morning more refreshed and you have that energy to
Mm,
keep going. So I think that is very important to crave out, like cut out that time for you to kind of enjoy like your own time. Because sometimes like, when you're running your own business, you might have a job, you might be on
yeah.
the go, you do this and that. And sometimes you just need a break from everything and just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Something I've learned to appreciate during the years is appreciating like the silence, like, just
Yeah.
being in your own space and silence, because that's where I feel like that's where the biggest ideas also like are born. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you find inspiration like to do all to start your business, to new designs, and to keep you going? Like, where do you get all this inspiration from?
I like Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
all those social medias out there, like, you'd be surprised how many ideas have come out through like TikTok and be like, oh, I like that. That's cute. Maybe I can do something better. And also just like my friends, like, talking to my friends and getting their opinions and be like, hey, do you like this or do you like that? And um, brainstorming, don't be afraid to like, talk to your friends or share your ideas. I feel like there's this theories like don't share too much because people might give
Mm.
you bad eye or that. I really don't believe in that. I think that's all bullshit.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be honest. I think it's like share your ideas, like share because you never know. Like
Mm.
you might share ideas, you might get a different feedback, and that might start something in you, and that might inspire you to be like, wait, maybe maybe I've been looking at it the wrong way. Maybe let me take at it doing this way. Talking to people and getting their feedback. Um, yeah, and like just like Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I can be on Pinterest for hours, like getting creative ideas of like what people are wearing, what are the colors, what are
Mm.
the trends, looking at bloggers that are on Instagram, and all the fun stuff.
So when you see something, do you just like write it down and you're like, oh, that's a great idea, or like screenshot it and you're like, I'll go back to that
Yeah,
later, save
screenshot
it,
it
like
or like save it.
yeah.
I think like it's like a lot of the social medias have a lot of great tools where you can like
Yeah.
save your ideas in one
Yeah,
place,
bookmark them.
and then whenever you're ready to start working on it, you can it's kind of like a dream board.
Yeah, yeah. Lastly, to close out this episode, what what do you attribute your success to? And how would you define success in your eyes?
Um, it's a really good question. Uh, First of all, I always say, because everyone has a different meaning of
Yep.
success, and that's
That's why I love
completely
to ask
fine.
this question.
To me, success is not really about money or about like where I'm making in life. It's just, to me, success is like where I know that I'm going to be happy doing whatever I'm doing, that I know that I'm going to look forward to. I'm not having to be like, oh my gosh, I have to do this again. Or like, to me, success is knowing where I'm at a stage in my life where I'm completely content with everything that I'm doing, that I'm happy, that I'm like, I don't have to win awards, I don't have to win this or that. Like, this to me, like, is that I'm happy, that my family is happy, I'm happy. That to me is success. That like, and I think when I look at success, I look at my parents and to see how far they have come. We don't have a lot of money. We're not the richest people in the world. But for me, they are successful. And that's why I say, to me, success does not have to mean about like how rich you are, or how many awards you won. It's about like where you are in your life, and that you're truly able to express that, and people are able to view that like by just looking at you, that wow, like they have a very successful life without having to look at your bank account or without having to look at all this other stuff.
Yeah, wow. No, thank you, Donna. That was beautiful. And where can people reach you and purchase from Calidanna?
You can go to Calidanna.com. It's just CALI and then my name, DANNA. I have an online store, and then you can follow us on social media at shop dot Calidanna, which now social media is a wonderful technology where you can literally like, I have like, I would say 80% of my people shop through Instagram directly. And they don't even make it to my website. So you can shop on Instagram, you can shop on Facebook, you can even shop. I think TikTok even has something like that. But all of my social medias are at shop.calidana.
And I'll definitely put that in the show notes, and all that information as well. And if you have anything else to add that you wanted to mention?
Oh, and if you're in the Houston area, I don't know who's in the Houston area, but if you're in the Houston area and you're watching, I do at least one pop-up a month. I'm actually gonna be doing a pop-up in June at this small business festival. And then I'm also doing an event with Spoiled Latina. They're doing a huge conference, and it's a Latina conference, and I will be there as well too in July.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a family or a friend and rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps tremendously in order to bring more awareness and educational resources to our community. For more information and to stay up to date with what I'm doing, you can follow me on Instagram at Latinoamericaneo. And if you need more information and resources, you can visit my website, latinoamericaneo.org. I'm Kevin Munoz. This has been the Leo Podcast, and I'll see you next time.